This tutorial will show you how to edit the materials in Revit walls, floors, and roofs. In a previous tutorial, when we first placed walls, I showed you that there are different basic wall types that come in with Revit when it's installed. And you can select one of those types and then hit Edit Type in order to make a new wall. If you remember, I created a new wall. I took the exterior brick on metal stud, duplicated it, and created brick on wood stud. We always want to duplicate and rename. We never want to change any of the existing types of walls, floors, or roofs that are already in Revit. This just gets rid of something that we might want to use later, and it helps us expand the options that we have for the future. So remember, after we duplicate, we then go into Structure and we edit. Within there, we can select on the number of the line, and then we can delete the entire line, or we can insert lines if we don't have enough elements. We also see the exterior side of a wall versus the interior side of the wall, and then we have different functions. We have finishes, thermal air layers, membrane layers, substrate, structure, and then multiple finish layers. So if you select here, you see there are two finish options. There's structure, the thermal layer, and then membrane layer. You can duplicate these multiple times, but the idea is to help you understand what goes where and then what the function of each layer is. We can also go in and edit the different materials by clicking on the right-hand side and clicking on the three dots, which then give us the material libraries that are here with Revit. To find things more easily, we can go up to the search bar at the top and type in what we're looking for, and then Revit narrows it down for us so that if we want to make a concrete block wall, we've got concrete masonry units. If we would like a site cast concrete wall, we can use that. We have lightweight concrete, which is good for roofs, and then we have precast concrete. Different options also have graphics, surface patterns for our drawings, cut patterns that show the materials, appearance when we render it or when we do realistic views, and those are different things that you can edit and change depending on the project. So that's looking at the wall. If we go to one of our sections, we can do similar things with our floors. So here we've got a floor with a 10-inch joist. We have different options that come with Revit with a 10-inch ceramic tile, a ceramic tile on a 10-inch joist for our floor finish, a wood finish, or a carpet finish. We can, just like we did with the walls, we can edit, type, and duplicate, and we can change that finish to whatever we want, or we can take that finish off. That will make it look weird in our renders, but it's something that we can do if we want, where we can completely delete that layer. And then it is just the plywood sheathing and then the 2x10 floor structure. Or if we decide that we want to insert a layer, we insert and make sure it's on this side of the core boundary, and we can change that to a finished layer and then go select the material. And we can type in wood again, and we can look for different types of wood options. You notice there's oak flooring, which is what we had before, but there's plywood sheathing, softwood lumber for wood studs, different options depending on what you're looking for. And we hit OK, and we want to make sure that it is a realistic size, and we add that on. So we have different options for our floor and then different options for our roof. And we always want to think about how something is constructed. So when we inserted our roof, we didn't actually pick a roof type. So here, one of the basic types we see for this wood frame construction, which is what I'm working on now, is an 8-inch rafter. You can see it's going to be similar construction to what we had with our walls and with our floors, with structure, plywood sheathing, and here we have an asphalt shingle. We could add in a membrane layer if we wanted to, and we would actually move it down because it would be under the asphalt. And we can call that membrane layer. And we could look for different materials that would be for our membrane. So we could have an EPDM membrane, which is actually for a low slope roof, as opposed to an asphalt shingle, or we can add an air infiltration barrier. And similar to what we saw on our walls, it's going to be very thin, so we're going to leave that thickness at 0. Now I did not duplicate that type when I changed it, so I need to be careful that I duplicate it before I make changes like I just did. And this is one of those things, if we go to our 3D and we look at it using our toolbar down at the bottom instead of hidden line for a visual style, we could look at it as realistic. And now it's going to show it more as an asphalt shingle because of the roof type that I selected. Here we can see the oak floor inside and then the brick siding that I selected as well. So we can go through and edit those, and what they do is they give us more realistic renders, but then also when we start moving into wall sections and elevations where we need to see the materials, we would change our detail level from coarse to fine, and we can start see the detailing of how our floors, our walls, and our roofs are constructed that help us start our wall sections and our floor plan details.